Well, hello everybody. Welcome to this week's coaching webinar. I have myself and Stan Malden on the line with us as well. For those of you who are new to this group, we have we have this coaching webinar every Tuesday of every week for at 5 p.m. Central. And then we have another webinar on Thursdays at 1:30 p.m. Central that normally my acquisition specialist, Joan, run those calls, and what she does is she makes calls to sellers in 3 ways so that way you can listen in, okay? And on these coaching webinars, either Stan or I will do the call, or in some cases like today where both of us are on the call, and in a lot of cases both of us are on the call. And so so you get the perspective from both of us here. And what we're going to focus in the next 30 days, okay, what we're going to focus in the next 30 days is strictly on your plan of attack for the $8,000 tax credit. And we're doing something special where basically we have made you guys into our joint venture partners, where we're going to tell you what you need to do on the ground in your city, and getting the seller leads, getting the buyer leads in, and we're going to hold your hands and do these deals together with you, and we'll split the profits from there. So so for this, now of course you can choose not to do the joint venture. That's fine. You don't have to do it. And we'll teach you more than enough for you to be able to do it on your own. And and if you want to joint venture with us, great. We'll both make more money together that way, and make the process easier for you. Okay. And so so like I said, in the next 4 weeks, we're just going to focus in on your plan of attack for December, and then after that we'll talk about your plan of attack for January to April. And April 30th is the time that we know this $8,000 tax credit is going to end. At least for now, anyways. There's a possibility that they might extend it beyond that, but we just know for now that it's very possible that it will end on April 30th. And so we want to do whatever we can to take advantage of the opportunities that we do have right now. And so we're going to teach you about these strategies, and then we'll go from there. So without further ado, I'll give you Stan Malden.
Well, thanks, Tim. Hey, I was thinking about, just as you were talking, you asked me yesterday or the day before, both of my kids are into music, and you were asking me how come my kids practice so much. Remember that?
Right.
And I told both my boys when they were sophomores in high school, if they'd practice a little bit every day, when they got to be seniors in high school and they graduated, I'd buy them a new car. And so they practiced pretty much regularly as sophomores and juniors in high school, but they practiced a lot as seniors, knowing that new car was coming. And then when they got finished with high school, both of them got huge scholarships to college. And so the scholarships are way bigger than what I spent on the car.
Right, so that's good.
Okay, so now I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking, okay, now how can I relate that to our students? And if we'll just do a little bit of work every day between now and April, guys, you'll make so much money you'll have a hard time spending part of it. It's just, there's just, never in the history that I can remember, and I've been doing this for a while, and you have too, can I remember the government just giving away money.
Right.
But they are, and so hey, you want to tell them Tim, how come we're calling it the 8K grant program now?
Yeah, sometimes you might have heard of this program. Well, sometimes you might have heard of this program as the $8,000 tax credit program. And what that is that initially when this program first started, um, they it was a tax credit where you can buy a house and you can have up to $8,000 of tax credit applied to whatever tax liability you owe to the government. And in July of 2009, they changed that to where they're like, well, it's not just a credit that's applied to your tax liability. We're just going to send you a check for $8,000, and you can do whatever you want to do with it, whether you want to use it to pay for your tax liability or go buy something else with it, go shopping with it. We don't care. And so, so because of that, I've decided to call it a $8,000 grant program instead of tax credit, which makes it easier for you to understand, and it also makes it easier for the homeowners and the home buyers to understand, because everybody understands grant money. Grant money has been around for a long, long time, and so so it's easy for them to understand the grant money. And if it's easy for them to understand, then you'll be able to get more attention that way. And so that's why we're calling it the $8,000 grant program now, and not the $8,000 tax credit program. Got it? So in your marketing, you're going to use $8,000 grant as well, not $8,000 tax credit.
Okay, well, guys, what I did is I just wanted you to kind of focus in on a few things that are going to make the next 30 days really, really awesome for you. So let's just kind of think about how we can get started. If you've not started already, how you can get started. And if you're started, how you can kind of get a laser point to this and make it really, really fun for the next 30 days. So we're just worried about December. We're just worried about getting started or moving forward a little bit in the next few weeks. The first thing I want you guys to do is I want you to define your market. Now, in Houston and in our area, the way we're defining this market is we're looking for bread and butter houses, okay? Now, a bread and butter house in Houston is that house between 85 to 120,000. They would rent or lease for about $1,000 a month. And we're looking in suburban areas, okay? And the reason we're doing that, we're looking in Katy, Spring, and Cypress mostly, and a little bit in Humble. But the reason we do that is we're looking for good schools. We're looking for areas that families would want to live. And honestly, they're close to where we live, so that makes it easy for us to show houses.
Right.
So,
and the blue-collar worker type of neighborhoods, those are the best for these type of homes.
Absolutely, and the guys the people who are buying our houses typically are a Hispanic couple in their mid-30s. They usually have a couple of kids, and so they're worried about schools. They're worried about safe areas. We've been doing a lot of marketing to the Hispanic community, and it's really been paying off very well for us. But for us, we're looking for a bread and butter house. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't find lower income houses and higher income houses, but that we're looking for houses we can turn in a week to 10 days, and that's kind of just a regular house for everybody. Okay, and then I'm not going to get into who will use the owner financing, but basically, our market in Houston is, for the most part, is younger couples in their 30s or so, and with a couple of kids. Okay, now let's figure out how we're going to find these sellers, and that's the fun part for us. I know Julio's on the line, and he and I spent some time together last week, and Tim and Julio spent some time together the week before that, and we did quite a bit of research on how to find these sellers. So, guys, we're looking for motivated sellers, and we're looking for houses that might possibly have been on the market for a while. Now, where would you find those? Where would you find houses that have been on the market for a while? Well, you find those from landlords or investors. And Julio and I found a house, and we did it with Driving for Dollars. If you know what Driving for Dollars is, that means we just got in an area of town that has that has quite a few foreclosures in it and has quite a few cash sales in it, and we would find those areas that would basically then make a lot of rentals. So think of this: if you have a lot of foreclosures, those are usually bought by investors who would then turn right around and rent them. So what we did is we've targeted a couple of neighborhoods in Spring and some in Katy, and we just drive those areas. And all we would do is write down the number on the signs on the for rent by owner, for sale by owner, and the for lease by owner. Okay, so basically we're just driving areas looking for rent or for sale by owner signs. Okay, and these are areas that have quite a few cash sales or have quite a few foreclosures in them. Now, the way we found those is we did an MLS search for cash sales, and we did it with this group not long ago, and we were looking for cash sales in the last 30 to 60 days, and then we kind of narrowed that down into certain neighborhoods. So what I would ask you to do is get your realtor to help you, and you're looking for cash sales in your area in the last, let's say, 60 days, and then narrow that down from the city to a certain zip code. And then after if you've narrowed it down from a certain zip code, narrow it down even further into a certain neighborhood. So basically the cash sales would be the investor type people coming in and buying foreclosures, and that's where you're going to find a lot of for rent, and you're going to have a lot of for sale by owner, especially these investor types. Okay, so that's what we call driving for dollars, and we have 3 or 4 students here in the Houston area, and they do driving for dollars just about every day now, just because there's so many coming online. And the really cool part about the foreclosure market is it changes every month. You know, every few days we've got new properties up there, and in Texas they foreclosed on properties the first Tuesday of every month.
Right.
So there's a lot of new houses coming on stream every time. Okay, so those are driving for dollars. Let's go back to the landlords and the investor type people. Julio and I found a house 2 weeks ago off of a bandit sign, and we'll get to the bandit signs. Let's go ahead and pop that up now. And the bandit signs, you're looking for the investor type people that are looking to rent their house or doing owner financing or rent to own or lease option. Any of those kind of words are the words I'm looking for from the investors off of bandit signs. And this was really neat. Julio was here in Houston, and he's one of the students on the call now. And we just called a bandit sign, and Julio talked to the investor, and we got a flex option back from him. And then I talked to that investor over the weekend, and the investor said, "Hey, when we get this one sold, I've got 12 more of these. I want to do the same thing." And Tim, I just talked to an investor just about 5 minutes ago that has 20 houses that they want to do the same thing.
Cool.
And so the investor market is huge because it's like, gee, why would you want to have people renting your house, you know, when they could buy it and your cash flow is going to be better and you're going to make more money. So anyhow, that's how we're finding a lot of these is off of bandit signs and then driving for dollars. We also have a lot of students that are working online, and those, of course, are working on Craigslist and Backpage. You guys write this web page down. This is a new one, Military by Owner. So if you're next to a military base or if you've got a naval base or something like that around you, then Military by Owner is a great place to go. Okay, for sale by owner or byowner.com is another great place. Okay, and then of course we're getting a lot of referrals now that we've been doing this for a while, just basically friends, church, work, Rotary Club, Lions Club, any of that. And Julio's talked to the apprentice group last night, and he was saying, you know, since we target Hispanics quite often, it's like you could go to the Catholic Church and do some work there and trade out that for advertising time, and there's all kind of ways to do that. But I just want you to get kind of the basic step-by-step starting ways. Okay, so for us, this is how we're doing most of our work, is mostly driving for dollars and on bandit signs and then online with Craigslist and the other web pages. Now we've just now started doing MLS searches, and we're looking for expired listings. And those listings, think of this, those houses have been on the market 90 to 120 days, sometimes maybe even 6 months. And those people are really motivated and they're really ready to sell their house. and they would then allow us to do some owner financing on those. Also, if you want to look back on the homes that were leased a year ago, those leases are starting to come due now, and some of those people are going to be moving out. So there's another great place to look is on the leases from a while ago. And Tim's favorite, and Tim loves to tell me this, it's like you need to go back and look at all the for rent by owners a month or two ago, and it's like, where do you find those? And Tim says, let's go to the library. And you go to the library and you get the local newspaper. For us, it's the Houston Chronicle. And you just call those people, and if they've still got a house that's for rent and it's been sitting there for a month, they're way more motivated than they were back when they were running the ad. Okay,
Right.
so let's kind of review a couple of things. We're looking for sellers that are motivated that would allow us to do some owner financing. In Texas, we would be doing a wraparound mortgage. Some of you that are in other states should be doing a land contract or contract for deed, something like that. And because we're doing a sale and not a rent or a lease, that allows us to then capture that $8,000 grant money, and then we can use that for down payment, we can use that for points, we can use that for a lot of things once we get that captured. So these are kind of the first step ways to basically find the sellers, and then we can talk about buyers at a later date. But this is a great way to come and find sellers. So.
Right, and you know, Stan already mentioned this, but I'll mention it again and really stress that and get that point through. But investors are the best client for us for these types of deals because they understand the game. A lot of them are frustrated with their tenants, and they would much rather sell it on owner financing, and they also understand the due on sale clause pretty well, and so they know how to handle that, and they don't mind that, and so just think about, okay, where can I find investors? Where can I find landlords who own houses? Where are they marketing their homes for sale? What kind of language are they using in their ads? Where are they marketing their homes for rent? And then Stan already talked about going back, looking at the old for rent ads, going back, going back to the MLS and look for homes that were sold to investors and go after those homes. You can even go buy a list from like InfoUSA or RealQuest, a list of non-owner occupant properties that were bought within the last year, and that list is a really good list because you can convert those people into these rent-to-own homes, or if they don't want to sell these rent-to-own homes and they're looking for more properties to buy, they can also become your buyers list. So that list is one of the the best lists for us to get as well. Of course, with lists you have to buy them. It costs money. So you start out with the strategies that don't cost you any money first, or if you have money and you don't mind investing into the marketing to send out a postcard to those lists, then you certainly can do that. You certainly can do that right away as well. Okay, and the reason why Stan mentioned that we're not going to talk too much about buyers today is because he's trying to give it to you in small chunks, okay, in small bite-sized chunks, so that way you can get off your feet and start doing something. However, I do want you to do this one strategy for me, because this one strategy is going to allow you to boost up your confidence along the way when you're talking to these sellers and these landlords, okay? And the strategy is I want you to go, pick a neighborhood that you want to do this strategy in, pick a neighborhood that you want to farm in. You can also pick your neighborhood if you wanted to do this. If hopefully you don't live in a very high-end neighborhood that we can't do this in, but if you live in a like a typical normal neighborhood, around the median price home in your neighborhood, or 20 to 40% less than your median price home, then this will work just fine. And so what you want to do is you want to drive that neighborhood and look for vacant houses in that neighborhood. And I want you to put out some signs on those vacant houses. Okay, and your sign's just going to say, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and your phone number, and that's it. It's not going to say anything else but those things. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and your phone numbers. And what's going to happen is when you put out these signs on these vacant houses, number one, you don't need to worry about the city because it's on private properties. A lot of cities have sign ordinance, and you can't post signs on public places without getting a permit. So this gets around that. And number two, what's going to happen to you is that 90% of your calls are going to come from all different kind of buyers. You're going to have cash buyers, contractors who are looking for houses to buy in that neighborhood so they can fix it up and move into it. You're going to find retail buyers, people who can qualify for a loan and buy the house. You're going to find owner financing, tenant buyers, where these are people who are credit challenged and can't qualify for a loan, but they have money to put down, and they can move into they can move into one of your owner financing homes. And you also find just normal tenants. These are people who just don't have any money to put down, and they really can't afford to buy a home right now. But they certainly would love to be able to rent a house in that neighborhood. Either way, if any of these buyers call you, you can help them and make money from them. Even with a tenant, even with someone who said, well, after you pre-screen them, they can't qualify. You can contact another landlord in the neighborhood and says, hey, I have a tenant that really need a home right now. If I refer you if I refer you my tenant, is it okay if you pay me? Is it okay if I keep first month's rent as my fee? And a lot of landlords are used to paying anywhere from half a month's rent to a full month's rent to real estate agents as a commission, or to property managers as a commission, to put tenants in the homes for them. And so they'll be very gladly to pay you those fees. Okay, and so that's just a really quick way to make money on tenants. But the other 10% of the time that you're going to get calls is you're going to get calls from sellers. These are people who own that home, and they're calling to wonder, like, why are you putting your sign on my yard? And if they do call you, you can get excited about it, and you can say, oh, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, I'm so glad you called me. I've been looking very hard for you. I'm interested in buying your house. If I can pay you all cash and close quickly, what's the least you would accept? So you can then now convert them into a seller, and a seller that a lot of people don't know anything about their whereabouts, and here they are calling you. So what I like about this sign strategy is that all of these calls that you're going to get coming in, it's going to instantly boost up your confidence. And because it's going to boost up your confidence, when you talk to sellers, you can tell them, well, I have these many buyers. I have another buyer that just called me today, and this is the kind of house they're looking for. And so it boosts up that confidence for you when you talk to sellers and when you talk to investors. And so, that would be a strategy that I would want you to go and try as soon as possible. Now, you can also, on top of putting out signs, you can also post ads that are generic ads as well. And you can even post ads like 3-bedroom, 2-bath owner financing, $8,000 grant owner financing available. And so you can post those kind of ads online, so that way you attract more specifically for those type of buyers. But the offline people, you want you don't mind. You just want any type of buyers who are driving in that neighborhood. You want to get you want to be able to help them and get them into a home so you can make money on them. But for online, it's more just general. You're not targeting a specific neighborhood, so it's okay to use a more specific ad that talks about the $8,000 grant, that talks about the owner financing, so you can have a better a more pre-screened buyer. Okay, did you guys understand that? Go ahead and ask questions if you didn't understand what I was trying to tell you, or anything that Stan has taught you so far.
So Tim, what would be? I'm a newbie investor, and I just remember, I listen to these webinars, and there's so much information. What's just my very first step? What's the easiest way for me to get started?
Well, like I said, the easiest way for you to start it is this. Number one, go find a sign company in your local area and buy some blank signs. It's going to cost you 80 cents to $1 a sign. And you can do it the budget way, like Stan often do it, and cut it in half so you can so your cost into each sign is like 50 cents, okay? And you can just use a Sharpie marker and handwrite it in. So that's one way to do it. Another way you can do it is go to Walgreens, go to anywhere to buy some neon color posters. Neon colors are a little bit more expensive than the white color one, but they're not that expensive. I mean, I don't remember. It's been a while since I bought these neon color ones, but I'm sure all of you know what I'm talking about. Go buy some neon color posters and handwrite on those. With the neon colors, you're gonna have to use 2 wooden stakes to put on 2 sides of the poster to keep it up, because the poster is pretty flimsy, so you can't just use 1 stake like you do with the Coroplast signs. And so both of those are very low budget marketing styles that you can do. Okay, and so that's the first thing I would do is just put out some signs to boost up your confidence, because a lot of you guys are, especially, well, maybe not a lot of you, but or maybe it is. I don't know. Some of you, you're so fearful about talking to sellers because you don't have buyer leads, or you feel like, well, what if I have the property and I don't have any buyers? And so that's why I normally don't suggest for you to put out signs as the first thing that you do, but I am in this scenario, because I just want to, more important than anything is just to boost up your confidence. The truth of the matter is this: once you have a property for sale, okay, and you start marketing that property, you're going to have more buyer leads than you can handle. That's, that's the reality of it. But, some of you might need that confident boost to make that initial call to the sellers in the first place. Okay, and so if you feel you're confident you can make the calls right away, then that's fine. Make the calls right away, and you don't have to put out these signs as the first thing that you do. But if you feel like if you feel like you're not making enough calls, and you need something, you need something that to motivate you more, to push you harder, to take action, then just go put out some signs. I mean, it's going to make you feel good because you're out there doing the work. Whenever we put our labor in, it feels good. It's like, going and get your exercise done for the day. It feels good. And so, so go out there, put out some signs, and then when you get these calls, when you get these calls, you're going to, you're going to, it's going to automatically boost up your confidence. And all you have to do when these buyers call you, just take the information. Just ask them. Well, just tell them that property that you're calling on is not available yet. However, as soon as it becomes available, I will I will contact you and let you know. So go ahead and give me your name, the best number to get to call you on, and your cell phone number, your email address. What kind of homes are you looking for? How much do you have to put as a down payment? Stuff like that. Okay, to pre-screen to pre-screen these buyers. And so that's the first thing that you're gonna do. The second thing that you're gonna do is log into dodeals.com and start calling sellers, start calling landlords. Go on to websites like Craigslist and Backpage, use the instant lead generator as well. Use the instant lead generator software when you log into the members area. Click on instant lead generator. Use that to call up sellers, to call up landlords, to email sellers, email landlords, that would be your second step. And so when you're calling them, you're just gonna get the seller questionnaire forms filled out. The seller questionnaire form is also in the members area as well. Okay, and so you're gonna pre-screen these sellers just like you do as if you're gonna buy the property from them outright. And then if it's not a good deal, or if it's not a good enough deal, where you can get a big cash discount from it, or where it's a deal where they're upside down and they're getting into foreclosure, then you have to switch over to a short sale strategy for that. But your focus is to try to identify as many of these owner financing deals as possible, and filling out the seller questionnaire forms, and then from there, once you get the seller questionnaire form filled out, and you use the Due Deals home value estimator, and figure out what the value is. You can then submit that lead to the hotline, and Stan and I will then give you what your third step is going to be. Okay, but we don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of teaching on these calls for the next 4 weeks. We just want to give you actionable items that you can go and implement immediately, and use these coaching calls as a platform for you to ask questions, and also for you to be able to hear questions from other students. So that way, if it's something that you missed, you'll be able to learn from others as well. Okay.
So, Tim, I've got a question.
Uh-huh.
I met this morning with one of our apprentice students, a new apprentice student that's got a master's in finance from Rice University. And we were talking about going out this weekend and putting out those signs, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and a phone number. And he said, well, what should I do next? And you and I Skyped a little bit about it today. I said, you need to go through these certain neighborhoods and just call them for rent and for sale by owners. Is it really, really that easy? I mean, is it really that easy? Because he's got a master's in finance, and he's going, is it really that easy to make this kind of money just by doing this?
Right, and the truth is, finding the sellers, finding the buyers, it is really that easy. What's going to get a little bit harder is when you start to negotiate with them and structuring the deal to make it work, and getting the paperwork out of the way. But that is like step number, that's like step number 4 or 5, and so you don't need. It's not something you need to worry about right now. The first step is just to find these buyers, find these sellers, and start talking to people. Think of yourself as a matchmaker. Okay, so when you ask the question, is it really that easy? Well, is matchmaking really that easy? Is it easy to find somebody who would like to, is it easy to find a man who would like to find a lady as a mate? The answer is yes. There's a lot of them out there. And so you turn around and ask, well, is it easy to find a lady who's looking for a man as a mate? The answer is also yes. There's plenty of them out there. That's why Match.com and Harmony.com, it's really big, and they make a lot of money doing matchmaking. Okay. Heck, if you open up the newspapers, there's plenty of singles ads. And so finding these sellers, finding these buyers, and start talking to them and letting them know what you do is a very easy part of the business. However, it's also the most difficult part of the business, is because it's the first step that you have to take. And most people don't take that first step. Okay, most people want to see, well, where's the whole ladder? I want to see, I want to be able to climb up to the ladder. I want to be on top of the ladder so I can see what's on the other side, but I'm not willing to take that first step to get on top of the ladder. So that's the challenge that a lot of people have. Maybe that's not a good analogy. But I mean, if you imagine, like, when you first learn how to do anything, whether it's learning how to drive a car or learning how to play an instrument or a sport, taking that first step is always the hardest. But once you take that first step and you look back, it's like, oh my goodness, that's like the easiest step ever. So the answer is yes. It's really that easy. All we are doing is playing matchmaking for real estate sellers and real estate buyers. And we have a lot of clients out there. We just need to do a good job at matching the right buyers to the right sellers, and making sure that we get paid from the deal.
So Tim, Adam wants to know, when I'm doing these matches, what do I tell them that I am?
You are a real estate investor, and you are in the business of buying and immediately reselling houses. Okay, notice the term I say, buying and immediately resell houses. Okay, so that's who you are.
You didn't use the F word there, did you, Tim? So we don't flip houses, right?
Right. Yeah, I think the F word.
Yeah, the other F word. Sorry, there, dude.
Right. I don't use the term flip because a lot of times the term flip is not. What happened was a few years ago there was a lot of mortgage fraud where people were buying houses and then inflated the value and have fake appraisal and those kind of stuff and sell it to a fake that take out a loan for a lot more than what the actual value of the home is. And so the mortgage companies start to call that as a flip fraud, and so the term flip has a negative connotation to it. And so we try to avoid that term as much as possible when we're talking to sellers and buyers, and we just call ourselves as real estate investors. We buy and immediately resell houses.
Tim, about a week or so ago, you were over here and you said something about don't call it owner financing straight out, but to start like rent to own. Do you recall that?
Right. Well, it depends on it depends on who you're talking to. When you're talking to landlords, when you're talking to landlords are trying to rent their property. All right. So the terminology that they have in their mind at that moment is renting. Okay. And so you want to, the best way to build rapport with somebody very, very quickly is if you speak their language. It's just like, for me to come up to somebody and speak to them in Vietnamese, if it was a Vietnamese person, I'll be able to build rapport with them much, much quicker than if Stan came up to them and spoke to them in English. Okay, and this is the same case if Julio came up to somebody and speak to them in Spanish instead of in English. And so when you speak their language, you'll be able to build rapport with them much quicker, and they'll understand you much easier. So when you're talking to landlords and they're renting their house, then the term that you want to use is rent to own, right? Because it has the word rent in it. And once they agree to the rent to own, then it'll make it easier for you to then convert them into an owner financing. And basically, you just tell them, well, here's the way that we sell rent to own. We sell it very much like an owner financing. We say very much like an owner financing when it really is an owner financing, but we just say it that way to make it more acceptable for them, because we're transitioning them from the rent mentality into the owner financing mentality. So, we tell them, well, here's how we sell our houses on a rent to own. We structured very much like an owner financing, where the buyer is going to not only make the mortgage payments every month, but they will be responsible for all of the property taxes, all of the insurance, hazard insurance, all of the maintenance. So no longer will they call you for leaky toilets. No longer they're going to call you because their light bulb is out, in the middle of the night, or during your Thanksgiving or your your Christmas dinner. And so you basically attract them with all of these benefits of doing owner financing. All right, and so by doing that, unless it's a landlord who said, no, I'm not interested in selling on owner financing, I just want to do straight rent and that's it, no more, because I'm holding this property for long term. I'm going to hold this for my kids and grandkids, whatever the case might be. Okay, you will run across some of those people, which is fine. Not everybody could be your client. Okay. Not everybody want you to be their matchmaker. They rather find their own mate. Okay, so don't try to push matchmaking on everybody that you see, that you talk to. So you approach from the rent to own to landlords. Now, if it's a seller, if it's a seller who already selling their house, then you don't necessarily have to use the term rent to own. You can if you want to, because it's kind of easy for them to understand, but you don't have to do that. Instead, you can you can use different terms like how would you like to sell your house and be like a bank where the buyer is making payments to you every single month, and you make cash flow from it, because whatever they're going to pay you each month, it's going to be more than what you're currently paying to your existing mortgage company, and so each month you'll be able to make monthly cash flow, and on top of that, they are going to pay for all of your taxes, all of your insurance, all of the maintenance. So you don't need to worry about taxes and insurance anymore. So, you instantly make more money, and so those are some of the terminologies that you can use. But the point being is that just pay attention to little things like that. Okay, just pay attention to little things like that. Oh, here's another really, really big one. Okay. Here's a really big one, especially for those of you who are scared to talk to sellers and scared to talk to buyers. Because you are now a joint venture partner with Stan and I, your responsibility in this joint venture, and your role and your title in this joint venture partner is called business development, or when you talk to normal buyers and sellers, then you can call relationship manager, or business relations, some department like that. And so you are now the VP of business development, and your only responsibility is to build relationship with sellers and buyers and investors and agents. Okay, that's your only responsibility. Someone else handles the buying and selling part of the house. you're only responsible to build a relationship. And so this way, when you talk to sellers and they ask you a question that you don't know how to answer them, you're just going to say, well, that's a really great question. I don't know the answer to that because that's not my department. However, I certainly can contact my my joint venture partner on this, or my associate. I can contact my associate on this to find out the answer and get back with you. And then you can contact Stan and I through through the hotline or through our support email, we'll give you the answer, and you can come back and give the answers to these sellers. Okay, so moving forward, your title in this joint venture partnership is VP of Business Development. Okay, so yeah.
Okay, so Lillian wants to know, she's got a partner in Las Vegas and she's in Florida. Is there a way that they can both log into the website together?
We would have to make a special arrangement for that because each login, only one person can log in at a time. So, well, I mean, you can do it as long as only one person log in at a time. Let me see here. He's in Vegas. Yeah. So you can. I mean, you can share your login with your partner. You just can't. Yeah. It's just only one at a time. So there you have it. You can do that with your VAs also. Okay.
So Tim, I know this owner financing is working here in Houston, and you know it too because we're closing houses. Will this work anywhere else, or is it just going to work here?
This will work anywhere in the U.S. Where there are, where there are rental properties and buyers that can't qualify for a loan, but they still love to buy a home, where they can get in with owner financing. And the $8,000 grant is only for the U.S. So if you can't do this outside the U.S. We have special privilege because we have Obama to support us in the $8,000 grant. So.
Okay, and any more questions? We can sure use them. There we go.
Let me see here.
What VA service are we using, Tim?
We have our own VAs that we use. If you want to hire a VA, we definitely can help you with that. And what specific functions do you have them do? You can have them call sellers for you. You can have them search for leads online and email leads. Send emails to those leads for you. You can have them post ads for you. So anything that you do online, they can do for you. Okay, and that's that would be the best use for them. And then you can handle the offline stuff. And we can help you find VAs for, depending on the VA, somewhere, most of them are $300 a month. Some of them can go to $350 a month, but either way, it's pretty inexpensive. Okay. Let me see.
And on this particular program, what would you have your VAs doing for you?
In this particular program, you have them call landlords for you to fill out seller questionnaire forms. You have them call sellers for you. You have I mean, the best use is for them to, number one, call sellers and landlords. Number two, post ads and send out emails online. Okay. However, you should do these things first yourself to learn how to do it before you start outsourcing to your VA. So that way, you know how to follow up with them. You know how to monitor them. You know when they are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and if you need help, if they need help, you can help them. You can tweak, what they're saying. So do learn how to do this first. There's certain things in life that we just can't have people doing for us. Like you can't have someone else eat food for you and expect you to be full. Someone can feed it to you, but you still have to, bite it and chew it and swallow it. Okay, I guess somebody can chew it for you too, but you still have to swallow it.
That's gross.
unless you want, unless you want somebody to put a tube down your throat and feed
No,
you down like
no.
you're a chicken or something.
Oh, that's terrible.
you know, I mean, there's certain things that it's just you have to do yourself to gain that experience. Once you gain that experience, then you can you can train other people to do some of these things for you, so you can focus on what you do best. Okay, like for me, what I do best is marketing and thinking of ideas. And so I don't, I'm no longer the one that calls sellers. I'm no longer the one that talks to buyers. I'm no longer the one that's meet up with them. I just think of, other marketing ideas and implement those marketing ideas and test different marketing ideas. And so that's what I'm best at. And so that's where I focus my time. Okay. But it could be very well that you're the type of person that likes to talk to people. You're the type of person that likes to build relationship with people. Then talking to sellers is something that you would be best at. So then, if that's the case, then you can have your VA to do more like posting ads and sending out emails and stuff, and pre-screening the sellers, so that way you end up only talking to the more qualified sellers and the more qualified buyers. Okay.
So Tim, Jason wants to know, how does a seller get paid when you're doing owner financing?
Well, the seller is going to get paid almost like if he was going to sell the house. Okay, here's what happens, and we there's two parts to it. Number one, let's say, and I'll just use this example. It'll make it easier for you to understand it first, and then I'll explain the other possibilities. Let's say the house is worth $100,000, and the seller owes $100,000 on this house. Okay. That means that if the seller was to go out and sell this house traditionally, the seller is going to end up paying at least $10,000 out of pocket. That will include real estate commission, closing costs, and whatever gotchas that's going to come back from the inspection after the buyer get the house inspected. Okay, and so and that's not even accounting for the holding time that these sellers might have to do. All right, so in this case where the seller owes $100,000, it's worth $100,000. The seller would have to come out of pocket money to be able to sell this house. All right, now let's say if the seller knows that they can't sell it traditionally without coming out of pocket, so they learn about our owner financing and a way for them to sell the house without having to put any money out of pocket. And so, and so let's say the seller said, yes, I'll sell my house, and I'm willing to sell my house for what I owed on it, which is $100,000, and I don't even care for any money down. All right, so I'm just trying to keep it simple here. So, but however, my current mortgage payment is $900 a month, and I want to get at least $900 a month to be able to cover for my current mortgage payment. And if I can get $1,000 a month, then that would be great. All right. So then you're like, seller, okay, fine. I will try my best to get you $1,000 a month, so that way you have you have some cash flow coming in. Okay. So then you turn around and you mark the house up to $108,000. Okay, and you found a buyer, and you found a buyer, and the buyer says, well, I have have $1,000 that I can put down, I have $1,000 that I can put down, and since I can qualify for this $8,000 grant, and so I can use my $1,000 plus the $8,000 grant as my down payment. Okay, and so then you're going to do the calculation in a way where the buyer's mortgage payment plus taxes and insurance are going to come in around $1,000 a month. So then the money that you're making is going to be from the $8,000 grant, because you mark up the price from $100,000 to $108,000. So the $8,000 goes to you, and you're going to say, seller, look, I got good news for you. I found a buyer. He's going to put $1,000 down, and he's going to pay $1,000 a month. So you're going to get $1,000 now, and you're going to own a financing $99,000 to the buyer. And each month you make a little bit more money than what you have to pay to your mortgage company. Okay, so that's an example of that. Now let's say the seller now owes $80,000. The house is worth $100,000. Okay, when sellers have more equity, they will tend to demand for more down payment. Okay. But so let's say the house is worth $100,000 and they want $80,000, and they said that I want $3,000 down and about $1,000 a month. So in that case, what we have to do is when we found a buyer, we have to tell the buyer, look, the only way we can make this work is if you have at least $3,000 down out of your own pocket. Plus, we're also going to give you the $8,000 grant, so you're going to have $11,000. $11,000 toward the down payment of your home. And so, so then in that case, then the buyer comes in with $3,000 down, which is what the seller wanted. You give that to the seller. You keep the $8,000 as your profit, and you structure it where the buyer's mortgage is going to be around $1,000 a month, and that's pretty much it.
So how long does it take to get paid on that $8,000?
On the $8,000, it depends on whether we are amending an existing tax return or we're filing a new tax return. If we're amending an existing tax return, and if they had initially filed it manually through paperwork and not electronic file, then it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks for us to get our check. If they had filed electronically, or if we're filing a new tax return for them electronically, then it'll take like 10 days for you to get the check. Okay.
Jason asked, should he have a new buyer in place before he signs a contract with the seller?
You don't need to if when you sign a contract with the seller, you're going to put subject to final inspection and appraisal approved by buyer. So that way, if you don't find a buyer, if for whatever reason you just can't find any buyer, then you can back out and just say, well, the house needed more repairs, and so I couldn't find any buyer, or the value is not what I thought it was, so I couldn't find any buyer, so I can't buy your house. Okay.
Adam is asking, so on your example of a $100,000 house, you're selling it for $108,000. Is that like putting it out of the market? Is that going to make it too expensive?
Well, the reason why it's not too expensive, and the reason why it's not too expensive is because, number one, these buyers they can't qualify for a loan. Okay, and they can't qualify for a loan, so it's not like they can go on the MLS and buy any house that they want, and so they are not as picky about the price that you're selling to them. They're more concerned about monthly payments than they are on price, and they understand their situation, and so that's why they understand that they're having to pay a premium on a house for that a premium on the house for that privilege. And then on top of that, this $8,000 they're getting as a grant, so it's free money to them. And so technically, in their eyes, they're buying the house for 100,000 and not 108 because they're getting the free money to cover for that premium. Okay, it's just like when you go buy a car and you buy a car that's all souped up, right? you know, you have to pay a premium for that car. It's a very similar situation. Or if you have ever bought a home before and you have bad credit, you know that you have to pay a premium on the interest rate. Or you don't, that's if you even able to qualify for a loan. And if you're not qualified for a loan, heck, you just settle for whatever you can. So put yourself in the buyer's shoes, and if you were a buyer and I'm selling this house to you, and you can't qualify for a conventional loan, would you do this deal? There's a high chance that you would do it. If I was one of these buyers, and I didn't know any better, I certainly would do it.
That just reminds me, you're talking about over the weekend what you did. You want to tell everybody what you did over the weekend with serving turkey and all that?
Sure. Yeah. We completely forget to ask everybody how their Thanksgiving was, huh?
Yeah.
Sorry about that, folks. I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. If any of you want to share that, you're more than welcome to. I was just sharing with Stan about what my wife and I did this weekend for Thanksgiving. We volunteer at the Georgia Brown Convention Center here in Houston. Every year for Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve, they serve turkey to about 20,000 people, and so my wife and I volunteer to serve these people, and I mean it's such a joy to be able to watch the smile and the happy faces on these people, and one of the big lessons that I learned while I was there was one of the big lessons that I learned while I was there was that they told us that we can't eat any of the food. It's only for these people. And most of these people are homeless or poor people, so they come for these free food. And my wife and I got there at 7 a.m. and we stayed there until 2 p.m. and we didn't have any food in our stomach, so we were really, really hungry. And we were talking like, gosh, why don't they give us some food, or why don't they at least tell us to bring some snack or something? Next time we should do that, bring some snack. And then I realized, like, hey, what am I complaining about? I'm only hungry for a few hours. These people have been hungry for days, weeks, months. This is not a temporary thing for them. This is a way of life for them, that they're hungry all the time. And so when I thought about that, it's like my heart, my mind just went in, and it's like I'm just gonna serve these people and get joy from that privilege of being able to serve them. And I realized something, that that the best joy I have ever gotten, ever gotten in my life has always been when I'm helping someone else to make them happy, helping someone else to achieve something that they have been longing for. That joy comes from a much deeper place in my heart, much more so than any kind of clothes I can buy for myself, or any kind of car I can buy. And same thing with these real estates. The way we make money in these real estate stuff is to be able to provide a great service to these sellers and buyers, doing things for them that they would not know how to do any other way, and they would not know even about the opportunity, or they might not even know about the $8,000 grant money, and so foremost when you're approaching these sellers and these buyers is that you have to come from a place of serving them, of helping them achieve their American dream, the dream of home ownership, because they cannot achieve this dream any other way because no lenders out there is lending to people who have bad credit, okay? Or even homeowners who have recently went through a foreclosure, and maybe they were living in a home that was $2,000 a month, and that was way over budget for them. But they certainly can move into a home that's $1,000 a month, and they do have some money that they can put down. I mean, before before their hardship, they were able to they were able to take care of the finances. It's not like they're irresponsible. They're very responsible people, but they went through a hardship, so they went through a foreclosure. But they certainly can't afford a cheaper home, a cheaper monthly payment. And so come from a heart of giving, come from a heart of serving and helping people, and you'll make a lot of money in this business, okay? And you're not going to have problems with sellers. You're not going to have problems with buyers if they just see your sincerity and your heart in helping them. And they don't mind that you make money out of it, okay?
So what's the best way then to explain to a buyer that we're keeping that $8,000?
Say that again?
Gilda says, what's the best way to explain to the buyer that we're keeping the $8,000 as an assignment fee because they are unable to get financing?
Oh, well, no, you don't need to explain that at all. You just tell them the house is $108,000, period. You don't tell them the house is $100,000 and we're assigning it to them for $8,000. That's how we do the paperwork, but that's not how you're going to talk to them. When you talk to them, you're just telling them the house is $108,000, period. That's it, in a story.
And Tim, how do you talk to a seller when you're telling them you're going to put somebody in there that's got bad credit?
Well, you tell them that putting in, they have dings on their credit, and the lenders right now are just so strict with lend. So they just can't qualify for a loan right now. The market is not what it used to be, where if you have a 600 credit score, you can get a loan. Now it's like you have to have a perfect credit score. You have 20% down in order for you to get into a home, and so just because these people have some dings on their credit, have some credit challenge, does not mean that they are irresponsible people. It could be very well that they went through a divorce. It could be very well that they went through some type of hardship, but they have good income, and that's a really, really important point. Okay, is that they have to have a good job and a consistent income. You can't put in somebody who doesn't have a consistent income unless they put a lot of money down. But you want to qualify these people based on their income and not based on their credit.
And the two words you use, or the words that you use often with us, is ding in their credit or nick in their credit, right?
Right.
Yeah, use that a lot. That's really good. Mark wants to know if there's any contracts that we can show him what this deal would look like.
Well, yeah, I guess you can do a case study.
We can do that later, yeah.
Yeah.
RC wants to know that we can use a flex option on this, right?
You can use the flex option just to get the conversation going, but as soon as we know that it's a very potential deal, then we can go ahead and convert it into a contract. And we're certainly going to convert it into a contract before we start auctioning it. So, but that's step number 3. So don't worry about it for now. Just do the first 2 steps.
Jason is asking, if the seller asks for money up front, should he cancel the deal?
What kind of money up front?
I don't know. You want to talk to him and just figure it out?
Well, Jason, what do you mean?
Oh, hang on, it's coming. Hey, Jason, you there? Uh-oh.
Probably don't have his audio.
A deposit's what Jason is saying. A deposit?
Upfront, like earnest money deposit. If the seller asks for earnest money deposit, here's what you're going to tell them. You're going to tell them that we normally don't put up earnest money. That's just how we just normally don't do that. Okay. I mean, we are very committed in making this deal happen because that's how we make our money. We don't want to waste our time nor yours if we know we're not going to be able to make money on this deal. So, yeah. So the way you can get around not just sellers and buyers, but a lot of things in life through negotiations is if you just tell people that, oh, this is how we normally do it, or this is the standard way we normally do it. Most people will never question that. They will just accept that as fact. It's interesting how us human work, but I mean, once we know something is standard, it's normal, we just don't question it, we just obey. I guess we were just raised up that way, not to question your authority.
Jason is also asking if we have contact numbers. They should just go through the hotline, right?
Right. The hotline's the best. Is the best way to go through that and submit as much info as you can to us. And the reason why the hotline's the best place to go is because depending on the availability, it could be me answering that question for you. It could be Stan answering the question for you. Or it could be one of our acquisition specialist VAs that will be able to help you immediately. And so the hotline is the best way because it's how we centralize our support system.
And are we going to provide CPA contacts for these guys, for everybody?
Yes. However, we're not going to do that now because you're not at that part yet. So just take it one step at a time, because when we get to the CPA part, I mean, Stan and I are going to be a lot more involved with you in that deal by then. So yeah, just take it one step at a time.
Are there any scripts to use on this, or any kind of format, questionnaire kind of things to use?
We have the seller questionnaire forms. We have the seller questionnaire forms in the members area. We'll probably need to update that form a little bit to include about this owner financing stuff, because right now it doesn't have the owner financing stuff. But just start with that for now, because some of the questions on there will ask, will you sell it for what you owed on it? Will you take some equity now and some equity later? So it does ask questions about owner financing in there, and so just start with that.
Okay, and how do they find the hotline? Is there like a button to push somewhere on the website?
Log into the members area, and then on the top there's a little banner that says hotline, and just click on that. And my assistant Josham's on the line, and he can help you with that too.
Well, I think
Stan, you're Dr. Phil now, huh?
Yeah, well, it's just that Texas accent. I have more hair than he does. Okay, well, I think we got them all.
All right, let me see here. I'll just glance back at it real quick and make sure. So any of you can raise your hand, and I'll unmute you, and you're gonna tell me what you're gonna do starting tonight or starting tomorrow. You should implement this immediately, so I would do it starting tonight. All right. Tell me what your plan of attack is, okay? What your action plans are going to be. Oscar, you there? Oscar? Can you hear me, buddy? If not, if your audio doesn't work, if you don't have a microphone, just call in, okay? All Yeah. Anyone else want to volunteer to share with us what your action plan is going to be tonight and tomorrow? For Adam, for the sake of the seller and the buyer, just tell them we're in the business of buying and immediately resell houses. Buying and immediately resell houses, okay? And so it could be that we'll try to find a buyer before we even buy that property, but that's the business that we're in. Okay, so that's all that they need to know. If I send in questions ahead of your presentation with a hotline handle that, the answer is yes, Mark. You don't have to wait until these webinars to ask your questions. You can ask your questions, anytime you want throughout the days, okay? And it's very important, the more questions that you ask, the better it is for you, so that way you know what to do. Don't isolate yourself. Don't get stuck. Don't drown in your own thoughts, and try to solve the problems yourself. Reach out and let us help you. Just know that you're not alone, and you don't have to be, unless you want to be alone, but you certainly don't have to be, okay?
Jason wants to talk to you pretty bad.
Okay. Let me unmute Jason. All right, Jason, is your audio working? Jason. Can't tell me to unmute you and then your audio doesn't work. I'll beat you up. All right.
Yeah, Andre's got a really good question. Do you see it, Tim?
I'm trying to. No, we can't hear you, Jason. You need to enter the audio pin. You don't have the audio pin enter yet. It should be like a 2 or 3 digit pin with a pound number. So you put pound and then the pin number and then the pound again. All right. Audrey asked, how would you address a situation where the homeowner would consider doing owner finance because they don't want to do a short sale and lose the equity in their property, but still are getting behind on monthly payments? They require a higher down payment to catch up. How do you help, and how do you get something out of the down payment? Well, that really depends, Audrey. Depends on how much they are behind. If it's an amount that's too high that we can't get it out of the down payment or the grant, then we just can't make it work unless the seller's willing to come up with that money to catch themselves up. That's the only way we can make it work. So the sellers will have to borrow money from their relatives, or they have their own money to catch it up. Or if we get lucky, let's say the seller is $3,000 behind, and we find a buyer, and the buyer has $3,000 to put down, then that's a possibility. Okay. But not when they owe $10,000. They're $10,000 behind. That's just way too much. We won't be able to find a buyer, or it's much harder to find a buyer that can qualify for that. Can put that kind of money down. Okay. All right, Jason.
All right. Can you hear me now, Tim?
Yep, I can hear you perfectly.
Oh, okay. Okay.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing awesome. Yes.
That's great. Yeah, kind of like you. I've been in IT for over 13 years. I worked at IBM, Pfizer, and I got a master's degree in computer science. And I had just resigned about 3 weeks ago from my position because of my love for real estate. And I own about 5 homes, and they're giving some cash flow.
Okay.
So I really want to step up my game. And I really like your site, the Do Deal site, because it gives some good leads.
Cool. Thanks.
So So I'm hoping to really focus on this, and run this aggressively and start making the offers with the, with the owner financing and finding the buyers to, well, the first-time home buyers to sign them up and just.
Okay.
But
So what's your game plan?
Yeah, the game plan is just to utilize your site and start making offers.
Okay. Well, so what specifically are you going to take action on starting this evening?
This evening, I'm going to be calling some of the leads that are already offering owner financing.
Okay.
And call them up and see what if they're willing to owner finance their house and what type of terms we can do.
Right. Yeah. Those are the easiest people to talk to because they already said they want to do it. The only thing with those people is that a lot of time they are number one already asking a premium price for their homes, and number two require a higher down payment. So you will have to renegotiate. You have to do a lot of times. You will have to negotiate with them for a little bit better price and a smaller down payment, so that way it gives you more room to make money. Because let's say the house is worth $100,000. It could be very well that they're already asking $105,000 or $110,000 for that house. And so if they're already asking $110,000, you really can't add another $8,000 on top of that, because now the house will be $18,000 over market, which is way too high. We try to keep it no more than 10% over market.
Okay. Do you recommend a certain game plan?
Well, yeah, I mean, contacting the owner financing sellers, contacting the motivated sellers, contacting the landlords. You're going to contact all of those sellers. And I'm not saying no to contact owner financing sellers. I'm telling you, they are the easiest people to talk to start talking to. But keep in mind that they are the people that since they know the business, they are the ones that will ask for a higher premium. So you just have to negotiate with them. But that doesn't mean you can't talk to them. You certainly can. So that's what you're going to do tonight. And then whoever you can't talk to, or when it gets later, because I don't know if you're in East Coast or West Coast. Where are you?
I'm in Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh, okay. So you're fine. It's still early. You still can make calls for another couple hours.
Just to let you know, Tim, I also I have 4 houses on contract, and these houses are already they're on the same street, and I originally wanted to wholesale them, but I'm running out of time because I was supposed to close on December 17th, and I still haven't been able to find a buyer. My buyers, the houses, all 4 are grossing $1,745 a month. They all have tenants in them. And I haven't been able to find a buyer, but the seller doesn't want to do any owner finance, so my intent was to try to wholesale them.
Okay, and how have you been marketing those homes?
I've been using Virtual Assistant, and I also been using Craigslist. I've been I have them on eBay, but I've gotten earnest deposits from investors, but they keep backing out. They're losing their earnest deposit. They couldn't come up with the funds. Okay.
What's the value and how much you're selling it for?
I have them on contract for $46,000, and the value is over $150K.
How much in repairs does it need?
It needs, I would say, about $4 grand for each house because it needs new carpet and paint.
Wow, and investors can't get a loan? They can't just use a hard money lender?
Yeah, I don't know what the problem is, but they seem to keep.
Well, one of the things that you might want to consider then, starting tomorrow, is go out and put out a bunch of signs for these homes. Because from putting out your signs, you're going to be able to sell these homes, and at the same time, you're going to be able to build your buyers list for the other owner financing homes.
Yeah, what I was considering is maybe trying to buy them myself through a hard money lender, and then with the tenants that are already in there, have myself owner finance it to them and collect $8,000 from each tenant.
You certainly can do that, and if you are going to do that, then you might want to consider talking to the tenants first and find out, you know, whether or not they have a good job and they'll be able to make the payments and stuff. You know, and so that way you, I would have to know more about the deal before I can tell you, yes, do it, because I don't want you to, you know, buy into a deal that is, you know, not holding on to a deal that's not a great deal, especially when, I mean, when investors put up earnest money and they can't get financing, they're willing to back out of it. There might be something else to it, because, you know, most investors know how to use hard money lenders to get loans on these homes.
Yeah, and what's interesting, because I got the lead from a broker, and he's telling me that if I can't close on the 17th, he has someone that's going to buy them the 18th. So it's like someone's going around me so that they don't have to pay, you know, my assignment fee to buy them.
I see. Okay. So these 4 homes are MLS listed homes?
No, they're not MLS listed. They were from a motivated seller, and they're free and clear. There's no mortgage, and the lady is selling them because she's having some health issues. She's in her late 70s, and she's having some health issues.
Oh, okay, got it. And you said all 4 homes are on the same street?
Yes.
I see. Yeah, that's what I would do. I would flood that area with signs, and I would try to find a cash buyer that can close me out. The 17, you have a little bit over 2 weeks. You still can do hard money, can still find a buyer with hard money, but that's the first thing I would do tomorrow morning is just flood the area with signs.
Okay. What kind of signs? Just flyers or just?
No, like you know, like the bandit signs, the chloroplast signs. Or the neon color signs that I talked about at the beginning of the call, and and you might want to vary them. Some of them could just be generic 3-bedroom, 2-bath signs, and some of them will say 3-bedroom, 2-bath cash special. You know, value $150,000, asking $45,000, whatever price you're asking. You know,
okay.
so you want to put the value in it, and you want to put your asking price in it, since it does have such a big big difference. And just say cash special and your phone number, and you should be good to go.
Okay, I'll try that approach. I'm gonna have to order these signs right away.
Right. Or a lot of, just find a local company that would get it to you much quicker. Even just buy blank signs and just handwrite them.
Okay.
That would be quicker too. If not, then ask them to if they have handwriting fonts. And print the handwriting fonts on the signs.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Tim. I'll definitely try that.
Yeah, and to make sure you keep me updated through the hotline there, so that way, so that way I can better help you. Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good, buddy. Good job.
Thanks.
All right, Jason. I'm gonna mute you out now. Okay.
Tim, Oscar's back. Oscar's got his hand up again.
Who?
Oscar.
Oscar. Okay, let me see. Yeah. What's up, Oscar? Dude, do you have your audio working? Right. Let me see here. I will be calling a seller from details.com tomorrow. The seller needs to sell by 12/31. Has taken a new job, asking $173,000. Bought it for $153,000 in 2003. And spent $25K. RC, do you know what the value of the home is? And do you know if they're willing to owner finance it? Let me see. All right. Looks like we got most of the questions. Oh, let me see. Okay, Mark said I'm going to get some signs, call some warm contacts, establish my area. You guys are great. I'm ready to go. Good job, Mark. I like that. Okay. And thank you for the "you are great" thing. It's Stan that's great. I just play along, tag along, take his credit.
Right.
Okay. Alrighty, all right. Okay, well, it's 6:32 Central now, so we're gonna end this call. So go out there, like I said, put out some signs on vacant houses to boost up your confidence. Put out some ads online to start to get buyers to contact you, and get buyers to contact you, and hopefully that will boost up your confidence. And if you absolutely not really afraid to make calls, I guess what you can do is let us know, and we'll try our best to maybe team you up with another of your colleagues here in this group, and maybe y'all can work together or something. And one person can do the call, and the other person can do the legwork. And so, if you're afraid, and let us know. So, like Mark said, he's not afraid, so he certainly can do the calls, and you can do the legwork. As well as for those of you who are outside of, if you're in the market area, like let's say Julio, for example, he's in Canada, and he's trying to do deals here in Houston, and so what he's doing is he works with bird dogs, and and try to work with other investors that are in the local market area. So if you're in a market where you don't think this owner financing stuff is going to work for your market because your price home is just too high, or whatever the case might be, then you might want to consider a joint venture with somebody in this group, and you make the calls, and they do the legwork or something like that. So just get creative, and let us know how you can be of value to the other person, and we'll try to find somebody to match you up. Okay, so we'll start playing matchmaking, Stan.
Yeah, we're ready.
Awesome. Okay. All right, Adam, I know you said you have a question. Go ahead and submit that to the hotline for us, and we'll answer it from there. Okay, buddy? All righty. Thanks, everybody, for being on this call, and thank you. Thank you, Stan, for being on the call to help me out as well, and we'll talk to you guys next week. But do come on Thursday's call as well. Okay, I'm going to be on the Thursday call this week at 1:30 p.m. Central also, so do get on that call too. All right, everybody, you have an awesome one. Talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.